Y'all, first transmission over as we're banned at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. If you're looking for that channel, we're not over there. We're at Hamin Media Group, twitch.tv/Hamin Media Group for a while, possibly, or forever, or who knows how long, as we try to appeal and make our plea because they didn't want you to stooge off Roman Reigns return, and that was the big thing today. But it's my birthday, pal, not your birthday, Mr. Meth Hot Nickels. Say my shitting only, my Sex Pistol, deal me in, the bewildering. And that's good morning to you, Paul F., as we say F it all here at twitch.tv Hamin Media Group. Subscribe right now, twitch.tv Hamin Media Group, HackerHamin.podbean.com, Hamin Media Group on YouTube. Infidels, they can't shut down the underground, and they never will. It's the Monday Locker Room with Dr. Ted and the big burger boy himself, RBV, and HackerHamin. Yalla. Yalla, man. Yeah, as we do the end around, if you're catching us on YouTube, I appreciate that on my YouTube. I see Paul F. and our own Old Athers in the UK. It's afternoon to you, sir, as they're doing the smack attack, him and MacGyver. So we appreciate that UK contingent setting it off over there, doing some of that old school Marty stuff going down. You never know what kind of leg lariats or crucifixes they're going to throw on you, beast. Double leg crucifix.
That's right. I was listening to a little bit of the Smack Attack the other day, and even my wife, she has a thing for accents. She walked in and goes, "Who's that?" And I had to turn it off. I couldn't get her all revved up there. So y'all got to tone down the sex appeal on the Smack Attack.
But you tuned it up because they love that chocolate tie that last week. This week it's the that sexy white frosting bow tie he's got there. He's a Dapper Dan himself. The bow tie is the Monday Locker Room standard at this point. Looking good, Dr. Ted.
Well, I have to say, I don't like to put myself over, but I am feeling pretty fly for a white tie today. So
excellent. He's on his game, man. Hair game's up on point too. He's got the CanYouHandlebar.com gel in there. He's ready to rock and roll, man. And this guy, he's been poster boy for Rolaids probably the last 2 days because he's been all over from Cincy to Dayton to Cleveland and back again. It's the Ohio Burger Champion himself, RBV, man. What's the status report? Who's got the hottest burger? Who's got the juiciest goddamn burger in Ohio, baby?
Gentlemen, I got to tell you, last week I'm feeling that burger bump this week, as early in the week as it is. And last week I had so much hot beef in me that people started calling me Tammy Lynn Cinch.
Oh,
but hey, I had some incredible weeks. I think overall I ended up putting down, visited probably 10, 11 places, sampled about 14, 15 different burgers.
Wow.
So yeah, I think it's for the next month. It's going to be fruits and salads month. And I think I have had my fill on burgers until maybe next year's burger week.
And then that's when you got to do the documentary. You got to do the sequel to the Super Size Me documentary. A whole week where you just eat, instead of not McDonald's, but every meal's a burger for the whole week.
That's essentially, except for a couple of side items and then whatever crazy concoctions they put on top of these bad boys. That's all I had last week was burgers. Every meal.
Wow. So who holds the title? Who holds
I got to tell you, there's a place downtown Cincinnati. It's prime Cincinnati. It's a little more upscale, probably for, in the grand picture, it's probably like a 4-star, but, it's fine dining here in Ohio. But they had like a half-pound, perfectly seasoned. It had a bacon jam, truffle aioli with more bacon loaded up on top of that bad boy. I think there were some onion straws on it. It was simply incredible. It was a $20 burger for $6.
Oh.
That was kind of the catch of this thing. There was 50 plus places that are involved at this. They're rolling out, everybody wants to be the premier, the standout, but they had to sell the burger for $6. So across the board, you're getting these incredible deals.
Awesome.
I also had
go ahead.
I'd say if you like it hot, Game On, they had an incredible burger. It was a jalapeno wildfire rub infused patty topped with white Ghost pepper jack cheese with more jalapeno on top, with and then a hot aioli on top of that. I mean, it lit you up immediately.
Did it come with a tube of Preparation H too?
Right.
Well, you just went in and ate it on the toilet.
You just whoa.
Yeah, might as well.
Christ.
And I was going to say one thing that Rick and I discovered just talking behind the scenes was that apparently Louisville Burger Week is just 1 week prior to Cincinnati Burger Week. So perhaps maybe next year you could do 2 weeks of burgers. You come down to the Man Beast Mansion and do 2 whole weeks of straight burgers. Think you can do it, Rick?
I think I'll pull it off. Or we can meet in the middle. We could do like half. We could start in Louisville and then you come up here. Like we'll do like a Wednesday to Wednesday.
All right. I'll do it. I'm down. Let's make it happen.
The burger throwdown, baby.
I got to say, I hacked into it last night right before we got shut down at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. So we're here at twitch.tv/Hamin Media Group. That's right, baby. Back up to the backup. Don't act up. You'll get smacked up. But I tapped into this, wife number one, with the help of Dr. Ted himself, the old Kirkland Premium Small Batch Bourbon. Age 7 years, baby. And this always scares me, Tennessee, because I always put that towards Jack Daniels and that.
Now it was distilled in Kentucky.
Okay.
It was bottled in Tennessee.
Okay. That's why it's smooth, because that Tennessee charcoal filter that whip on that Jack Daniels and sometimes even Jim Beam, which I know is Kentucky, but is a little too much.
Here's the thing. Now, you've had it? You've tried it?
Yeah, I liked it. It's got a little whip on it, but then it smooths right out.
So it is so this is a lot of things people don't know. It is distilled actually by Jim Beam, but it is specially selected by some of the folks at Kirkland who actually are with Costco. And most people would think Costco, that's what the heck. But the guys that do the bourbon line there, they go down to the distillery themselves and actually pick out the barrels that they want. So it's their particular, I guess, flavor of how they like it. And so I think it's aged well. It's got 7 years and you can only get it at Costco. And when you said you hadn't had it, I was like, all right, I felt confident that you would enjoy it. So
then Triple D came over and gave me this. This is dope. He's giving me some awesome. He's got a collection. Yeah. What Oath? Have you seen this?
Yeah, I went hard to find too.
Yeah, man, it's dope. The box is all wood burned, crazy cool graphics and shit, all wood burned into it. So
that's awesome.
I was happy with it. Yeah, that slides out here. Let me pull this one out. Appreciate everybody with all the birthday wishes as you rise and praise me as you should, infidels, or you'll be struck down and destroyed. But
that's a fancy, nice looking bottle there.
They're both real nice. Yeah.
And actually, since you kind of brought it up, I do at least have the audio just about ready. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it on myself. I will have the audio for the first ever I'm just calling it Schmoozing and Boozing, but basically the drinking show that we're doing. I'll have the audio up on the Hamin Media Group channel this afternoon. So be on the lookout for that.
Maybe episode 2, we'll do a little. We'll do a little remote sipping. And we'll
absolutely.
I'm sure you've got a bottle of this Kirkland, right?
Yep. So let's make it happen.
Oh shit!
Oh man,
classic. Oh shit. Yeah, man. So I appreciate all the alcohol and all the libations, cheers, and everything else before we got shut down. We'll see what happens out of there, man. I put appeals in. That's just playing the game in 2020. You lose a little sleep over it, but then you're like, moving on. We'll find other hustle grind ways. And the fan base is there. The supporters are there. The Hamin army's in the trenches. And when you say we got to reroute because they try to cut us off, and then don't worry, we'll gain that ground back. That's just what you got to do. So appreciate everybody subscribing here, wherever, just to get those numbers up as we try to get this affiliate wise and Hamin Media Group YouTube wise over 1,000, so we can start generating there too. That's a big thing. What we're trying to do in our meetings on Friday, especially with these two guys and MSG, man, it's just hitting on all cylinders because we go to the war room every week, and Stevie is the general in there, and obviously tied into the Russo brand war always. We're we're coming up with new strategies, new opportunities, and pioneering a lot of things. So we appreciate everybody's help who keeps this big machine rolling, man. So I'm still happy birthday to y'all. I appreciate that, man. I'm a young cat. I don't know about that, but I feel like I'm in my prime. That's for sure, man. Like, it really hitting my stride. It just takes a lot every day. And yesterday was the first day in 28 days I think I had off that I unplugged for a fair amount of the day, and it was a good time, man. So I appreciate that. Everybody keeping things going during SummerSlam, and then good rib to get banned at the end of your birthday.
Well, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do, yo? You fly close to the sun, you get burned sometimes, man. But I'll tell you. Go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, speaking of getting burned, just on the conspiracy side of things, although you probably are more well read than I am on this, but I saw, did you see about Kim Jong-un? They think is in a coma right now. I saw that on the Google Trends this morning. I actually have the article here. It says North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un has fallen into a coma. A former South Korean official is claiming on the heels of reports that the northern leader has ceded over some of his power to his younger sister. He said, I assess him to be in a coma, but his life has not ended. He told South Korean media. The former aide added that the leader's younger sister, Kim Yo-jong, was poised to help lead the country. A complete succession structure has not been formed, so Kim Yo-jong is being brought to the fore as the vacuum cannot be maintained for a prolonged period. So that's interesting, at least to hear.
He's fucking lucky.
And the fact that he's still alive.
Yeah, well, he's getting some good sleep. That's more than I'm like, sleeping good. Yeah, I mean, this is a family of tyrants and ridiculousness. I mean, he was a little lighter than his father, but who knows, bro, what goes on. They've got all kinds of assassination attempts, poisonings, the media out of there. Who knows what the official word is if he's been dead, and they have a propped up, a bunch of body doubles. Like, what's really going on
That's
there?
True. Yeah, he could be dead, and they just said, okay, well, you look like him, and then a little poison goes a long way, and there you go, you got your body double.
Yep.
Crazy to think about, but at the same time, I would not put it past that regime to pull something like that.
I don't know about the coma this week, but I'm pretty sure I saw him floating around Burger Week last week. So I know he's still kicking at some point.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, I got a little distracted here for 1 second. Always biz, because I want to give my full attention because it's one of the most important times of the day, and that's the Monday morning monologue.
Well, let's go ahead and let's get into a few of your headlines. It is your Monday morning monologue. I hope everyone's having a great morning. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Bret the Hitman Hart discussed his experiences working with Hulk Hogan earlier in their careers, and more on the latest episode of Confessions of the Hitman series, saying I know how to do anything, and that he could barely walk into the ring and didn't even know how to hit the ropes. To which Hulk Hogan said, "What you gonna do?" WWE former Universal Champion Braun Strowman got wind of an online rumor that nearly everyone on the WWE roster has reached out to AEW in regards to trying to work there. After seeing the post, he later shared it on his Instagram Live, calling it fake news, to which Braun, I got to tell you, man, it's pro wrestling. The news isn't fake. It's predetermined. On the latest edition of Being the Elite, the Young Bucks make a joke at Randy Orton's expense, plus many more. Word has it that Randy Orton tried to joke back, but the Young Bucks have got upset and deleted their Twitter again. Not really. WWE has announced that it will have virtual meet and greets, or had virtual meet and greets during SummerSlam weekend, with fans paying $125 to talk with a WWE superstar for 2 minutes. Fans then got a downloadable file of their conversation within 48 hours. And, judging by the success, I have to say, guys, I think it's time for the Hamin Media Group to introduce the first ever virtual strip club. So that way our listeners and viewers can talk to all the Rizats to their heart's desire. Just don't call them Rizats.
Mm-hmm.
Recent tweets between AEW and WWE stars took place over the past week, with Bayley and Ricky Starks putting each other over, as well as Chris Jericho and Johnny Gargano. What is next, guys? The dead rising from the grave? Human sacrifice? Dogs and cats living together? This is mass hysteria. I'm telling you. It appears Bobby Lashley has taken a challenge from a recent fan tweet saying that Lashley would not call out Brock Lesnar. In response to that tweet, Bobby Lashley wrote, "The guy says I won't call you out, Brock Lesnar. This is me calling you out," which is really a shame that Bobby Lashley only dared him because, as we all know, Brock Lesnar only accepts double dog dares.
Oh.
Sonya Deville's demand for a loser leaves WWE match against Mandy Rose backfired against her on last night's SummerSlam. Rose defeated Deville in a no DQ match to send Deville off of WWE TV for the time being, capping off a difficult week for Sonya. If only there was a secretive group of masked wrestlers that she could join. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Inside the Ropes is launching its own nostalgic wrestling magazine with a host of contributors. The company announced on Sunday via press release and the documentary The Last Read that Inside the Ropes magazine will be released worldwide on September 17th through the online store InsideTheRopesMagazine.com. Financing a print magazine may be the second quickest way to lose money in 2020, next to only setting it on fire. But we don't need no water. Let the motherfucker burn. This has been your Monday morning monologue.
Yeah, burn, motherfucker. Yeah, dude, that sure was the Monday morning monologue, and I needed that because I started off hot. You can't give me a day off to recharge. My anger builds up too much. I need some Susio in my life, and I appreciate those guys doing Light the Fuse yesterday. A big, I was hot because UFC judges fucking up the main event again, third time, just absolutely brutal this year. And then they were all like, "Oh, dude, watch AEW. You'll feel a lot better." And Brody goes over strong, and I mean strong. Cody got nothing on him. He got nothing. So it was great. But then the end turns cheesy kind of. But that's wrestling. So, I was glad those guys did the show. I think Jenna Van Muscles even might have sat in. I'm not sure if she did. I saw on her Instagram story she was riding shotgun there, looking beautiful and jacked as ever. If she did, I appreciate her. You guys, like I said, towing the line here, and always good to get the female wrestling perspective, a hard and rare one to find in a lot of podcasting realms, man. So I hope she does more. It's only going to help her as a performer and get to know the fan base more. You know what I mean? So appreciate her. I'm glad, and also looking after our boy Sil constantly. That's a big thing. And made that donation to Sil's health fund. He wanted to say thank you to everybody, and he's a humble guy. But you guys, any of those bits you were doing, I made sure they get forwarded, and so did these two guys as well. So with Jargo's family as well, you guys hitting their goal. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's all actually, and if people want in particular, I guess, to, I know because some people feel like they want to be able to, give something in particular rather than money. You have the opportunity to do that. I know he just posted on the Hamin Media discussion group, like they have certain items that they need from the house. And so if you actually want to be able to purchase something directly for them, they actually have the Amazon wish list on the Hamin Media discussion group, and you can go to that directly. And, I think they need, probably furniture, clothes, and or probably literally just about everything. So if you want to, be able to purchase something, be able to help them refurnish their new home after they lost it all, then certainly that'd be another way you can certainly help them. So we'll at least put that over as well.
Wonderful, man. Appreciate that. I was unaware of the Amazon list.
He actually just posted that about 16 minutes ago. So that's available right now over on Facebook and Hamin Media discussion group. And then throughout the show here, right immediately following, I'll make sure it gets on the Facebook business page and over on Twitter for everybody if they want to check that out.
Excellent. Thank you very much, guys, for all that you guys have done. I can only, I don't want to have to, and I hope none of us have to imagine going through tragedies like that, dude. It's just like a reset in life. And when you think, everyone's always got problems, and you hear about that shit and they go, holy shit, maybe my little problems of getting my Twitch channel fucking banned aren't that bad after all. It puts it in perspective. I'm not trying to laugh at the guy's play by any means, just like laughing at our pig-headedness, laughing at myself right there, really, to be honest with you, like wasted energy getting hot about that when there's way bigger fucking things that could happen to you, you know?
You know what the Twitch channel actually comes down to? It's a vendetta after you've been. How many deer have you put down in your day?
That I'm going to tell you about 4.
Well, you've got deer. You've got the deer girl, the moderator that identifies as a deer. You know, she found out what Hamin is all about, and she's got it out for you.
How about the 30 deer I've passed on though? Like that I didn't take out because I'm a good harvester. You know what I mean?
Now, have you ever taken a Dippin' Donuts jelly donut and gone right up to a 16-point buck and just fed it to it instead of shooting it?
Dude, I don't know how he still did that, bro. I go, that's got to be a petting zoo thing where they're hand fed. He's like, no, dude. He's like, they do have a feeder. He goes, but I could just sit out there and they'll come in close. And then he came right up and did that. If you don't know what we're talking about, there's Brian Jack, aka Buck Wild. You can check out the Conspiracy Horseman episode, which was an intense episode.
That was
kind of a legendary underground episode with BJ. Dude we came up with who's got a lot of love for me. I'm glad he's on my side, much like Khalil Omar Akbar. That's a guy you look at and go, I'm glad he's on my side because I wouldn't want him against me. There was a video when he was doing, it was at FCW. This is when he lived up north though. And he's legit in the backyard with a jelly donut and he has a 16-point buck walk up to him and it eats it right out of his hand. The guy's like on some fucking zippity doodah shit with like, you know, the birds fly around, land on his shoulder type stuff, man. Like he's that much of an Outback Jack character. That Buck Wild stuff is a shoot, bro.
Oh, yeah.
He lives in the woods. He pretty much makes people's cabins and like summer homes, like redoes all does everything, like falls off a ladder usually every year and a half and breaks his leg and 4 ribs or something. Then he's back at work the next day, like devastated. You're like, God damn, dude. Like, you know, they've just got this insane spirit, man. But that's why I believe this motherfucker can legit hold his hand out and a 16-point buck will walk up to him and eat a jelly donut. I watched it on, it wasn't like a big setup thing, dude. It's just like, oh, here he comes. Let me roll camera on this. There's nobody else in the woods. And it's him. Like, what the, like, that's insane. So Brian Jack, shout out to BJ in the woods, man. I'll send him this link. He'll be happy he got mentioned. And then he'll want me to you should go and do an OVW show versus NWA Florida. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? A, I don't work for free anymore, ever. And B, like, neither of those companies pay me. So his heart's in the right place, but he might be a little disconnected when it comes to the state of wrestling at this point. But we're going to reconnect here because it's the Monday Locker Room Infidels with Dr. Ted, RBV, HackerHamin, getting through it together, starting off the week. Whatever, we're at twitch.tv, Hamin Media Group, and I also want to thank Tech Meme Podcast, right down the time beast where we at 2315. Tech Meme Podcast sponsoring us all month long. Brian McCullough's Tech Podcast. You can check it out on iTunes. You guys, they've been bringing you all the free media that you can handle from us as we split our channels from hackerhamin.podbean.com and Hamin Media Group. Appreciate you guys following us there and give him a follow. Give him a 5-star rating on iTunes. 15 to 20 minutes if you're really into all the latest tech news, especially I know we got some investment guys that listen to this as well. He's going to let you know who's moving on things. I heard something about Amazon buying out Rack Mount. I was like, my antenna went off. And he's a funny dude too, man. He gets his shots in on the tech stuff where somebody's kind of putting out a PR BS line. He gives it a little stick. So I like it. So shout out to BC over there at Tech Meme Podcast. Sponsoring Hamin Media Group, and we appreciate that, guys. So we found him on podcorn.com. That's where we hooked up. This is a free plug for Podcorn. Maybe I'll send it to them. They'll send me a couple bucks regardless. But that is the place for podcasters. If you guys got it hooked up with wherever you get it done, Podbean is what I like. But then you get that RSS feed. you get signed up at Podcorn, and you can meet other great companies that are looking to do business, or podcasters that like mine, much like HackerHamin Podcast. And boom, we come together with Hamin Media Group and awareness. So if you're a follower of us, do us a favor, because he's sponsoring us. Go over there. At least you can do. Give him a great rating and a follow. Tell him HMG sent you. Y'all. Oh, man. Frankie Picklebear says, I got white deer everywhere in my backyard in New Jersey. Oh, you got the albino deer, or you got white tails? Because there is like a weird flock of albino deer up north, and there is some in Jersey too. So that's pretty cool, man. I've had a lot of deer come out to me, man. Like, it's not about the deer you kill, and I know you're ribbing about the social justice deer or whatever, but this is an important thing as me as a hunter, because I was just watching the Bush people, the Alaska family. They're kind of weird, like, isolated, but a lot of what they do is what I want to teach Stevie, which was taught to me over 20 years of master hunters that I've hunted with, just even how to walk in the woods, stalk, track, sign, identify trails, move a certain way, how to use the wind, all that kind of stuff. And to watch them do that. But I consider myself a master hunter, not on what I've killed, but on moments I've had in the woods where I put myself into positions on game trails. I've had young deer who are oblivious because they've never seen a human, when I'm fully camoed out, walk right up to me. I'm not kidding you, with my gun out within 1.5 feet of the end of my barrel, like, and sniff it like a little doe. This is deep woods, never seen a human ever in their life, and they don't know what it is while I'm under a tree. I've had another ones while I'm on trail come running away and stopped like 30 yards short of me. Didn't see me at all as I'm fully camo, lay down thinking they're completely safe. Well, I just sit there motionless for 20 minutes, like trying to control my breathing, not give anything away. Maybe because a buck is chasing that little doe, and I don't know. That's what's going through my mind. But the fact that as a human in the woods, as an animal, and I know where to put myself and how to get into the proper position, and you can fool nature when you can go over on nature. Like, that's something way different than what this podcasting or what social justice warrior deer ever will understand. I've fallen asleep in the woods before and have deer woke up, I heard a twig snap, they're walking right at me, like would walk right over the top of you. So I try not to do that now because there's more bears and shit where you don't want to wake up and have one of them walking at you. But that shit's important to me, man. And I look forward to the fall always, because that's my time to really, like, okay, I might be in the saddle here doing digi all day long, but when I can get back out there and use my whatever caveman DNA to, like, you can almost kind of become invisible if you know how to use it all at the right time and become aware and like fade into the surroundings. I used to read things when I was a kid, like My Side of the Mountain and things like that kids used to read, whatever, Jack London stuff. But things about natives that could make themselves invisible. And like, you're like, how do you do that? Well, when you really let go and you become fully surrounded in 360 sense of everything that's going on, from twig snapping to every bird, squirrel, where you are, the wind blowing, every step you take, all of a sudden it unlocks this like weird thing where you feel like you can fade into the fucking foliage or whatever it is, and nothing can see you there, like Predator and shit. So I love that feeling, and it's hard to get to, man, but I look forward to getting back to it. So no deer can hold me down at the end of the day. I got a 308 boomstick, Jay Bradley style, so I'm ready to unload, man. And we're gonna unload with all the week's news. Post SummerSlam, big comeback for a very natural looking Roman Reigns. I didn't even see it. I saw it in the sheets this morning. I passed out after drinking wine and whiskey. What's going on, RBV?
Yeah, we got a super-sized weekend of professional wrestling. Luckily, here on the Hamin Media Group, we got shows that specifically tuned into so much what was happening. So we're just going to kind of hit some of the major talking points, dive a little deeper into SummerSlam. Ben, you had made mention. I was going to kick things off here. Again, congratulations, though. Your boy strikes gold. A big moment on Dynamite Saturday night. Mr. Brody Lee defeats Cody to become the new All Elite Wrestling TNT champion. I'm sure that MSG and Sylvia, those guys went into great depth about all the events that transpired there. But, just again, maybe Beast, any thoughts on seeing Brody Lee? Is this going to help elevate the Dark Order, or just overall feelings on this moment for someone that's worked so closely with Ben?
Well, I will say that I reviewed 2 shows here with the Hamin Media Group, Impact Wrestling and NXT. And unfortunately, that combined with my responsibilities, both with Hamin Media Group as well as being a doctor and doing other things, I unfortunately did not get a chance. I don't get a chance to watch it regularly. However, not to digress too much, I apparently I am going to have to watch AEW because last week, Ben, I didn't tell you this. I got hot about it on Impact, but I went ahead on NXT and issued a hot tag challenge to any wrestler or wrestling tag team that can do a proper hot tag in a match. And I was told apparently 40 American White Mare on Twitter told me he believes that FTR may have done a hot tag over the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to have to do a little research and find out. Unfortunately, I can't necessarily comment on Brody Lee other than I think he's a great talent. And I guess that's good. I don't know storylines, what's really going on, but I know he's a good talent, a good hand. And hopefully this is just the start of a trajectory for him to do some really cool stuff over there. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I'm super happy for him too. And the way they booked it, like people were like a backslide on Orton and Drew. I go a fucking backslide last night.
Oh, and now it means something. Imagine that. The next time they do a backslide, people might actually bite on it.
Yeah, yeah. I go rip, and somebody is like, "How do you feel about that?" I go rip 101 right there, bro.
Oh,
rip
great.
10. Me too. People were flipping. I was like, "Nope." Believable, you know what I mean? Out of nowhere, wrestling wins. Wrestling wins. Shocker, not a spot. Wrestling. It was fine with me, dude. So they were losing their minds, but like I said, I was hot after UFC. Then I watched it, and I'm super happy for Brody. He looked awesome. Cody sold awesome for him. Like, you want to talk about a run over with the story of Cody? Here's what they didn't do: the story of Cody being beaten up. Like from match after match after match after match. We could have got that over more, which would have kept Cody strong. And as Brody goes over on him, because Cody looked like he was in good shape and Brody just ran through him. You know what I mean? Making Cody a little beaten up there might have protected him a little bit more here nor there. I've also heard that Brandy and Cody want to write themselves off TV for, I'm not sure whether it's them working on this heels TV show or they're just taking the criticism and like peeling back or whatever. I don't know. Could be a bunch of things. Who knows? Or that's all bullshit. And because that's the sheets. But here's what I got to say about, the Brody Lee business that I'm like, ugh. Do we have the numbers of how many people watched AEW?
I haven't seen the numbers yet.
Okay. So I hope they're high. But chances are they're not, right?
You think so? Well, with the switch in the time, just because people are familiar with the Wednesday time slot, I don't think they went to great lengths to really over-advertise the move.
Okay.
Plus now you're in direct competition with TakeOver 30 and a hot UFC card.
Okay. And
just Saturday night in general.
And you're gonna make the guy that you didn't make and you handed him a loss, right? On the day that the least amount of people are watching, and you're going to take the belt off of Cody, your known entity, on the day the least amount of people. I hope it's double the number because it's the week. I hope I'm wrong. But as a dude who does analytics and social media very much every day, don't those other factors seem contributing factors against that? I could be wrong still. I'm just saying if the number is even lower at all, that would inflect a decision in the creative for me. I would be saying, wait, hold up. We're about to make a major moment, and we're also going to be bringing fans back. You know what I mean? So it is smart to put it on a heel, but we're going to make this guy who we already kind of effed it up by handing him a loss, and we're going to make him on the lowest show, and we were going to make him in Rochester, his hometown, and it would have been a huge thing. So 2 times when you have like the high point to do something, the wrong, like COVID effed up the one, I get it. but the wrong decision of the timing on this. Like, I like the way the match was worked, but not enough to get max value out of it if they weren't on a Wednesday, or you have them go over, you do it on a pay-per-view, right? So it just makes it seem like thrown together in the main event with a title change. Now, here's the other thing. The Dark Order takes away from Brody being over. You know what I mean? Like, you got this, then we go from a strong get-over match to kind of a phony wrestling beatdown, throw him off the fucking gurney, and then Brandy comes out and just like lays over him and is like looking back angrily, but like everybody else is knocked out and she's just waiting for the spot. And now we're all wrestling phony and hear him line up, guys, so we can pose over them instead of fucking really going off with the Nightmare Collective and beating the shit out of each other. And, you know, we got to go like that. We get the big wrestling stage pose and it's just like, kind of to me by the end of it. We end on a note that's not as big. Like, they just bring Dustin out and QT Marshall to flop, you know, that they kick their ass in the back. Why not let those guys run out and fucking do a spot where they gang them and fucking beat the shit out of them in front of everybody and leave them laying, you know what I mean? Or we need that split screen to show that kind of stuff. So again, you're going to make a guy a day late and a dollar short who should have been made by WWE 4 years ago. So that's not even here nor there. And then it's not max value. And really what you could have done is had Brody Lee to beat the shit out of him there and then beat the fuck out of everybody in the Dark Order too. Forget about the Nightmare Collective. He heals on his own fucking guys, and then you can split him off and end this Nightmare Collective thing. And Brody Lee can go on his own to be the big stud that he really is, dude, because I think he's doing a favor to everybody else who's in that fucking group.
Couldn't you even, if he remained the leader of the Dark Order, and then also you make perfect sense there. I mean, why start this build, get some heat under him on this off night, and you've got All Out coming up here in a couple of weeks, then have your payoff at the pay-per-view. But even if you wanted Brody to continue to be that leader of that group, it still makes sense for him to put a beat down on him because they have failed him time and time again. That's kind of the attitude of the leader.
Maybe, but that's wrestling. I agree with that. I thought of that too. That's the David Miscavige Sea Org. He fucking locked people in the basement to do slave labor for weeks on end, dude.
I mean, he just went out there, took care of Cody. I mean, look, I'm the boss. Look what I did. Now you're all going to pay for this.
The opportunity is to do the real thing. He beats the fuck out of those guys. Fuck this. I'm not Vince McMahon. I'm Brody Lee. I'm not a leader of a cult. I'm the best wrestler on the planet. I'm coming. I'll take this title, anybody else's title, anybody who wants to step up in front of me. Come on. I hold this. This means network power. This means I'm the man now for real. Not some bullshit cult leader. These guys couldn't lace my boots as he lays them all out like in a wicked shoot way. Like just destroys everybody Brock Lesnar style, right? And he's standing there. And that's the moment he becomes Brody Lee. No gimmicks needed. I'm a fucking world beater, destroyer, and there's nobody in the locker room who's going to take this. And you keep that belt on him for a year, all the way. He runs through everybody, all the way till he faces the champ, and then he fucking two belts it, and he throws down the TNT title, says fuck it, and becomes that. Then you can do the under shit with that again, dude, instead of doing Becky two belts and all that fucking bullshit. And he's made.
I think in your moment there, you've just made a new top star for your company.
So that's how you make a star, not he's in a Dark Order and Colt Cabana's with him and these guys, Ocho Dos, and okay, wrestling, yeah. Like, you want to make legends, you want to make somebody that's going to get people to turn the channel and go, dude, this guy just said fuck his own dudes and fuck the storyline. Like, now you're breaking wrestling phoniness with the reality that Brody's never gotten to be what he absolutely should have been, which is the top guy without some bullshit gimmick, some mystical shit that you have to suspend your disbelief on. The guy is 6'8". He can do incredible things, as you saw in this match, hucking drop kicks and shit, dude. Like, let's get it to where it should be, you know. Instead, we're going to do more Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering shit. That's what I attribute all that shit to, bro. That's why I was never like, I like that a little bit. You know, I know it's sales bit and whatnot, so I'm not here to shit on it. People love that. But when I see a fucking dude who looks like the guy who should be the top dude in Roadhouse, I don't want him to be you shall not pass, like Lord of the Rings bullshit, which is all that stuff to me. All the Undertaker stuff, all that shit is suspension of disbelief, especially as an atheist, because I don't believe in any of that bullshit. So Brody's awesome, man. I just want him to fucking shine at the peak. And I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Saturday has 1.2 million people. But I think it's going to be about 430,000 people.
Now to that point, again, it's someone that doesn't regularly watch the program, and that's not it's simply just for time purposes. I just don't have the time to. I'm wondering if it was really more so they could have the aftermath of people went back to the sheets and thought, oh shit, I should have watched AEW, hoping that, you know, either UFC or WWE might underdeliver, and then you make people feel like they have to tune in the following week. Because I also would be curious to see the next week's numbers, because certainly if they're trending upwards, then that is a potential good sign that it was really to try to get people to realize that AEW Dynamite is can't miss TV. And so you got to keep an eye on the dial as far as, you know, if they get preempted or moved, because if you miss one episode, you might miss something cool. I don't know. I'm literally throwing it out there, someone that doesn't regularly watch. So I will be curious to see what the numbers are the following week as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the time change helped them or hurt them. If it hurt them, we get it, you know. But
with everything with the NBA playoffs coming into play here, see, they're not just going to be on Saturday every week. They're going to keep moving around. They're doing some Thursdays, they're doing some Saturdays. They have their Wednesdays available, so they're all over the board here. So unless you're really locked in, you're one of those true diehard AEW fans that's going to be, you know, seeking out when and where they are. They're completely going to, you know, lose that casual that's just locked into, oh yeah, I know it's Wednesday as I'm flipping around. There's that wrestling show on.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not trying to correct you either, because Russo does this once in a while, and it's not like I try and do that. Like Vince, it's not that. Because I'm proud of my OVW time and my 2CW time. But Brody's last shows at Living on the Edge were the only two shows we worked together. But because I wasn't in his matches, but that was right when he was going to FCW or NXT. You know, I kind of came in as a new character on those shows, even though I was working with the Legends and the Insurgency at that time. But like Brody's always kept an eye on whether it's X-Site or 2CW guys as well. So he always has that, you know, 2CW respect, and he's always been just cool to me when he didn't need to be, you know. So it's not like he and I are always on fucking, you know, chatting and shit along those lines, but I could reach out if need be. But Russo will go, I got to keep it 100. Ben Hamin was there when Brock Lesnar and John Cena and stuff that Rip trained those guys. And I came about 2 years after that. Like I was Cody, Ryback, Sean Spear, a lot of, you know, you guys that you see now, ODB, Beth Phoenix, Serena. You know, that's what was going on. And don't forget Deuce and Domino. Oh. No pop, peace, love, Deuce and Domino.
Yeah, cherry was the cherry on top.
But you know, that's, you know, Mercury and Nitro. That's my shit right there. And so I'm not trying to like undercut you, RBV, but I always think it's important to like not be like, oh yeah, me and fucking Brody, we talk every night. It's not like that. It's just that we're.
I was saying, you know, how highly you speak of him regularly.
I do. And like when, you know, he has the house party and shit like that and the boys show up and you get the invite, it's like, I'd speak very highly of him because I know exactly the caliber of worker he is, type of man he is, and the type of talent he could be if these dumb cocksuckers would get out of their own way with this phony wrestling shit and make a Psycho Sid level star. Like none of this shit that he's ever done. Wyatt family, Bludgeon Brothers, Dark Order is going to echo through time dude, that is your fucking ringmaster. That's your stunning Steve Austin on the way to getting to Stone Cold. Let's recognize that's what it is and say fuck it and make them Stone Cold and start making some money and earning some fucking ratings and putting over matches that will actually get people to tune in. No. Dark Order, phony punches, Walmart pants, 38 indie workers who shouldn't even really have a gig, to be honest with you, who don't know how to work for TV, whose fundamentals are pretty rotten and spot festy, and it's holding this guy. Dude, it's like him carrying 10 people on his back, and he's just gonna drown with them on there. Now,
someone that doesn't regularly watch, do you feel if he were to just, I guess, disassociate himself from the Dark Order, do you think there's still value in that stable or group?
You got Super Smash Brothers, make them back into Super Smash Brothers. They're that way because they're a Dark Order. They're bad guys, right? Meanwhile, they're doing high spots that are fucking Flying Garbanzo Brothers flip and duck roll through, like doing all the fucking Super Smash Brothers video game shit, but they're supposed to be heels. Then they're backed up by 6 other guys who are so small that they look like they're right out of Rip's class. They might be jacked or whatever, but like I've seen a couple of their sketches on Being the Elite. I'm like, okay, these guys got 20 years of character work ahead of them before they get it. And then the other dudes are so fundamentally rotten that they expose the business with their punches being so bad. So why would you ever even put them on TV? What is there to lose here by cutting all those guys, keeping Smash Bros and turning them back into something cool? Like, that's all you got to do. The rest of those guys got to go anyway because more WWE people are coming and they're marginalized. So let's just do it.
Well, gentlemen, let's keep it on Saturday night, but we'll switch gears and we'll kind of throw it over here to the doctor. Class is in session. Talk a little NXT. Beast, I know you and Colin will be going into great depth and detail on this coming up on the Next Level podcast this week. But there was a few points from TakeOver 30 that I did want to touch on here. During a wild WWE style ladder match, we get a new North American champion, Damian Priest, claiming his first gold inside of the company. Just kind of want to get your overall thoughts on this thing. I know you guys have been covering it in great detail for qualifying and the spots in this thing.
And we always go in. Yeah, we always go into business, and as far as, what's the best business and could better business be done? And so we were talking and going through all the competitors, talking about who would be good business to do. Colin had gone with Cameron Grimes as the winner, and what I had said was, while I like that pick, I also felt he's someone that could get his heat in other ways. He's a loudmouth, slimy heel, and he didn't necessarily need the title versus someone like Damian Priest, who's just kind of coming on the scene. Actually, I had said last week not to put myself over, but I thought I would have liked to have seen him get the title, so I was glad to see they put it on him simply because he is someone that, as a big heel, can continue to get heat as the champion, and then eventually when you have a baby face down the line, topple him for the championship, then that is meaningful. And then not only you've made a baby face, you've established Damian Priest as someone that's a contender, that someone can hold on to a championship for a while and build him up. My only grievance is that I hope Damian Priest, as I've talked before, and I think he's a hell of a talent, hell of a look, and he's got the it factor. He needs to learn how to work his size better. He doesn't put it over enough, and he takes bumps that I wish he'd understand. Part of I feel like the mindset over at NXT is get all the shit in you can, because they'll do anything to prove they want to be a part of the main roster. And unfortunately, that's short-sighted. But that being said, I do think he's very talented. I think it was a good call for them to put the title on him, and I hope they'll start to really put some good heat on him, so that way, again, down the line, I think he would really help to elevate a babyface at some point, but not for a while. My hope is that they keep it on for a little bit and really establish the heat with him.
Boy, I hated this match.
Yeah, the match I wasn't happy with, but the decision.
The guy to put it on, I agree, is him. He's a Monster Factory guy. He knows his shit. I agree he doesn't know how to work his size the right way. I've seen him buried a couple times, but there's money written on him. You see him, they're like, before the bell even rings, like you see there, okay. If you're a scout, you just see it, and then if he can work even a little bit, but this guy can work more than a little bit. But it's the things like coming up the ladder. Like, this was the most let's play wrestler ladder match I've ever seen in my life, bro. Like, so like, let's get up the ladder into phony spots, and it's not really I'll just take a swipe at the belt so I can get into my next thing to take some oh shit stuff. Like this is when at OVW when the contract was still on with WWE, where I was like, this sucks, bro, because when Rip would have us in a battle royal in practice or a DCW, right, Beast? What would he do? He'd give you the final 4 guys and the finish, right? Like that's it.
And then work. Yeah.
And then everybody else works to a corner. Don't go down to your feet or don't go down to your knees. Why, Beast?
Because you get hurt. Well, and
somebody will step on your fucking Achilles or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So like all these little things, Then I remember watching Al book the big battle royal for Six Flags. And dude, it was every elimination, how you're gonna do it. And then I'm watching these guys who I know are as good, if not better, are way better workers than me, as good as the top guys I'm getting to work with in Rip's class, like selling down and being down so the camera can see them because that's what WWE wants. And they just ruined the battle royal that I was like pumped about to watch it. Like I was like saying, I can't remember who it was. I go, Ryback's going to fucking kick ass in this. And they're like, nah, he's just going to do this, that, and the other. I'm like, what? And that was it, bro. Like every spot planned out. This ladder match is that epitome of that. Maybe each guy gets one spot during the match, not 36 fucking spots to be a part of, dude. Like the whole thing should be struggling for ladders and fucking knocking each other out and the tip spot and things like that. Not let's both try and climb up, get a facial 360 power bomb through the thing we just set up. The whole gimmick of the match is to get the fucking belt off of it, not get your shit in a stupid way, man. Like it was so bad. The match was so bad. Probably the worst ladder match. I took all those bumps for nothing.
How did you feel about the over-involvement of Candice LeRae here?
It was so
it just added to everything else.
Yeah, like ridiculous, right? Like, come on, B. And like the dude's got the fucking Bam Bam gear and he's pulling like all the focus, but he's getting fucking taken out. He's not killing guys like Bam Bam would, and then taking a big bump himself like in ECW. If you're gonna pay homage, do the fucking shit. Sacrifice yourself. Go through the fucking ramp like he did, but you do it through a ladder and you're just taken out. Instead, right back up, doing a fucking climb. I'm just like, come on, B. Nobody's working their size. Everybody's just doing stupid shit. And at least they put the right guy over. But by that time, I was like, fuck this match, bro. But then McAfee came out and stole the show. So, like, it's just unbelievable, the simpleness like that. That has to drive them nuts that a guy who's trained with Rip Rogers probably no more than 20 times can fucking come out there and people are like, well, Cole carried him through it. No way did Cole carry him through it, bro.
As a matter of fact, that finish was like, that wasn't a Rip finish.
No, it definitely wasn't a Rip finish. And it fucked the whole floor. Yeah. Not the match because he's got his highlights throughout the whole thing and he looks great in every one of them. But, dude, they had it. Wow. Here comes the finish when we're watching along. I thought it was going to be a move on this off the top, right? The move on it, then we take it home right there, right? So instead of doing that, he super kicks him. So I'm like, okay, maybe he could have fed back off the ropes and hit him into something. That would have had the rhythm. Instead, he stops, pulls down his knee pad, says some shit of like, I don't even know what the fuck he said to him. He's pointing at his little 12-year-old knee like, boo-boo, and fucking then he goes over to the fucking ropes and gets up on the thing. So McAfee's got to feed up to hit him with something. The fucking rhythm is gone. They killed it. Is not a pro. I mean, dude, baby, it's not good. It like maybe he did it on purpose though, because they don't want McAfee to get over. That he will fuck up that level of finish, and I don't doubt that a Shawn Michaels or Triple H can put that in his ear, but we could have had a way better story here. And the punt is established to knock him out. No sell on the punt, bro. Like these little things that expose him. Meanwhile, this guy who's got 20, this is his first match ever, really. One indie match before that. Doing perfect headlock, little Rip headlock takeover story. get the spot up with all his boys, does the fucking flip perfectly, doing incredibly athletic things, jumping from the floor to the fucking top rope, flawless superplexes. None of that has anything to do with Adam Cole. Like, none of that, dude. And put in the right spots. You know what I mean? So bravo to Pat McAfee, dude. He stole the show with simple OVW Rip Rogers 101. And when it comes to the finish, the only part that people really care about or should care about in the match, and no, the guy who's Mr. Everything, HBK Light, does a like lets all the air out of the fucking balloon. Wow, 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 wow.
What's a running problem with Cole?
Oh, okay, dude. Oh, good, fucking great
job.
And
it would have been something simple. Like I personally would have liked to see it where, let's say, you know, Pat's up on him, paint brushes him, like slaps him around, and then because he's the showboat, so you know he's already tried to go to the top multiple times. He goes up. Adam Cole gets out of the way. Ow, his knees hurt from the thing earlier. He turns around. Adam Cole slaps the shit out of Pat McAfee as revenge, then picks him up on the gimmick. Bam, 1, 2, 3. That's it.
That's it, bro. That would have been fine, dude. I thought, okay, if you're gonna get your shit in, he comes off the top, takes the super kick, off the rope, feed back in, Death Valley Snabitz or Kryptonite Crunch thing that he did to Tommaso and almost killed him off the top of the cage. Boom, that's enough. Hook it, 1 with the bridge, 2, 3, and Pat can be on the fucking cell. Not, you know, I mean, half knocked out, but like killed, dude. To put 20 seconds of air in that fucking finish. Welcome to Ring of Honor.
Well, it's a continuous problem with Adam Cole matches. I mean, if they would just cut themselves 5 to 7 minutes short, I mean, we would have a different conversation and perspective about it. But
yeah, I want you to watch me beat you. What the fuck does that even mean, dude? I want you to watch me beat you. That's what he said to him in there. That was the important, big fucking Shakespearean moment that we had to fuck a finish for, dude.
What really jumps out to you is when you go just, you know, different circles around the internet wrestling community, how many fans it was no surprise here in the Monday locker room. We've been talking, you know, singing the praises, saying, be ready for how amazing McAfee is going to look inside this match, but how surprised people are on the delivery, just in his promos, his performance in the ring. I think it speaks to a bigger picture here. When you look at someone like McAfee, he realizes that he is a star. He has star power as opposed to the cookie cutter products that the superstars that they're supposed to be giving.
Here's 2 things he fucked up on. He needs to stop doing the Ric Flair woo, because that's an instant mark thing among the boys. Like, you set up, like, I get it, you're a fan, you want to do that shit, and like I've seen guys, that's their first instinct to woo and do that shit. Like, all the boys in the back are, not that he has to give a fuck, but like that's just something that he needs to get away from. The second thing is he was trained by Rip, and he fucking paid the toll with Von Lilas in there. And that means he got the shit chopped out of him. And once Von Lilas chops you, you should know that you can do that to other dudes. He didn't light Cole up at all. I hope Rip chews his ass out for it, going, why the fuck didn't you chop the little motherfucker? You should have fucking smashed him. And then he fucking would have been, that other shit would have been fucking real before you got to go get your fucking flip shit in, motherfucker. You know, like, I just wanted him in the corner, 1 fucking Lilas, boom, and just watch Cole's eyes like that. Oh shit, this motherfucker's got real power, NFL power. We needed that. We needed that fucking chop to get him over. And then he really could have done the woo afterwards if he wanted to. But no, after you got lit up by Von Lilas, brother, you didn't want to get your shit in on somebody. That's let's
not assume, though. Let's not assume he may have very well wanted to get his shit in, and either Cole or someone else said, we're not going to do that. You know what I mean?
True. That was what I was looking for the whole match, man. He fucking should have chopped him once.
That would have been good.
But y'all, man, Pat McAfee was the hero. I didn't watch much after that. I was on.
The other big news coming out of the night happens in the main event. Karrion Kross claims the NXT championship over then defending champion Keith Lee. I guess, Beast, the first question here is, where will the reign of Kross carry the gold brand?
Well, hopefully it's a long time before they take that title off of them. But, I talked about, Damian Priest having a nice little run. Karrion Kross, considering he's came in so dominant, he should continue to carry that title really throughout his entire NXT run. I would like him to see he literally beats everybody, so he has to go up to the roster. I want them to do with Kross what I wish they would have done with Asuka and say, I'm beating all the competition here. Now I'm on the main roster. Now I'm going to beat everyone else versus, giving up the championship or losing.
I got your homework, though. I got your homework for this week.
For this next week, okay.
Updated story, but he's got a separated shoulder.
Yeah.
From that match. So that could be up to 9 months, right? And if you got to work, how do you work around
it? It depends. Yeah, it depends on how bad the separation was. Because truly, right. if it just came out of socket, then in 2 or 3 weeks potentially he could start doing some stuff. So it depends.
Homework, I think. I don't know. You can assign it if you want. Is how do you book Kross, knowing that he's injured, to kayfabe it or sell it and keep him strong and keep the title on him, so he doesn't have to cough it up in a. Oh, this sucks. I know I'm Killer Kross, but I got to go through arthroscopic surgery, and I'll be back, you guys, in a fucking WWE wank off kind of fucking way. How can we avoid that at all fucking costs? Even if he's got to get surgery. I mean, if it's that way, then we'll have somebody work heat on him and take it off right away and make some money. But then, but how, if not, if he's going to work hurt and injured, how do we book that? That's an interesting thing. I think that we would have a good conversation about.
I like that. I'm writing that down.
Ben, you say WWE wank off kind of way. They say network exclusive.
Oh yeah.
And my other thing I wanted to comment on that match is I felt like the Keith Lee Kross match did go too long. And it's not the fact that I don't think, these guys can work longer matches, but, these guys have been shown to be explosive and everything. And I feel like this was something that should have been similar, not necessarily maybe as quick, but I expected to be reminiscent of like the Brock Lesnar Goldberg matches where it's just bing, bang, boom. It's exciting. And I felt like this one, not that it was bad, but I felt like it trudged on. It didn't quite, I felt like after a certain point, I was like, okay, when's the finish happening versus being really emotionally enthralled in what was going on from bell to bell. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not taken away from the work they did, but it's more so, honestly, it was just the booking at the time. If I was writing the show, I would not have given them 20 minutes as two big dudes in the main event. Not to mention, there's something to be said for giving people just a little bit of what they want, so that way they want to see more of them going on. And I felt like after a while, it was like, okay, I've seen enough. And maybe that's just my bias. I acknowledge that as someone that maybe, it just has been around wrestling for a long time. But I don't know how some of our listeners felt about it, but I felt, at least from my point of view, that it was just a bit too long for my liking.
But we might not see more of Kross and Keith Lee, as it's been announced through SummerSlam that Keith Lee will be appearing tonight on Monday Night Raw. So it appears that he will be making the shift to the red brand. I guess, Ben, for you.
You bring him in Raw Underground, though, or do you do some bullshit? Not bullshit, because he could come in MVP's Hurt Business. That could be a big fucking thing for that, man. Absolutely. There's opportunity in both, I think. Before we move on, Dr. Ted, where can they send homework assignments for the Next Level podcast?
Next Level Wrestling Review at gmail.com. It's in it right there, and we will talk about it on this week's show. Now this week's homework, I might go ahead and assign that for the following week. This last week's homework, simply because we were going into a pay-per-view week, and I didn't know what was going to happen on the show. So last week, the homework was simply give me a baby face or a heel, and I want you to turn them and make them the top face or heel by the end of the year. So it was kind of more of just, pick someone on the roster, make it make sense, and I want them to be either top baby face or top heel by the end of the year. On a turn and give me what happens. So
here's a little, let me cheat off let me look on your paper and cheat off that. I got the inside tip. I'll tell you what, guys, if you want to make a top heel, best thing to do is turn a top baby face. And if you're want to make a top baby, then you find your baddest heel, because people like that. So you can only be as hot on the other side as you were on that, depending on the situation that you set up. But don't tell them I told you.
The Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, cheat sheets. I bought this from another guy in the bathroom.
Well, it's been as you kind of mentioned there, which direction would you go with Lee? I mean, how do you introduce him tonight? I mean, how does he make the biggest impact?
If Apollo Crews had any fucking meat and potatoes on it at all, I'd fucking do something there, but they fucked that up so bad. Like, what are you going to do? Have another fucking black guy that's a destroyer? You got Lashley.
Is Apollo Crews in the group now?
No, they've done a weird fucking thing.
Have they been trying to tease where they've been kind of wanting them in?
Kind
so
of.
What if it's something like, Apollo Crews comes around and he says, he's been thinking about it and, he decided he is going to join the Hurt business. And then MVP's like, well, man, we already got someone else, but I guess if you can beat him, and then that's when you have Keith Lee come in and polish.
That was good.
Crews did go over MVP on the pre-show of SummerSlam to retain the United States Championship.
Yeah. Okay, well then maybe not. Well, maybe not that exactly, but you could maybe do a spin on that. Where Apollo Crews, or he's up, and then that's when you have Keith Lee come in to kill him.
I got killed on all the pick'em challenges. I friggin' changed my stuff based on the sheets instead of what I went with my gut early on, and I lost on every one of them that I changed.
As you'd mentioned, is there a position for another destroyer? Could you put him and Lashley together and have them target the Street Profits?
Or do you have him come in as a baby because those guys are getting heat on, they're getting heat on Crews backstage and Keith Lee comes out of nowhere to save. Now you have Crews and Keith Lee together to go against Lashley and Benjamin. I mean, it's not sexy. It's not great, but that's probably what they're going to do.
They have been teasing in the past weeks trying to find some kind of allies to go along with Crews, but unfortunately that's been Cedric Alexander and Ricochet. So I don't think that's really caught on with the audience. So maybe they're thinking, hey, we do need some serious muscle, some more beef behind him. Let's go ahead and bring in Lee.
Is he ready?
Who is the darling?
Just because you're 6'6", 358 pounds or whatever, 400 pounds, and you can move doesn't mean you're ready, man. Like, he's been down there for a minute and he gets it, but this, like, the weight of what he's going to have to carry is going to be interesting to see how he does with it, especially when they're so protected and developmental. And then once you're up there and it's a whole different monster. So I hope he does great. He was awesome when I saw him live, but he didn't protect his size either. I saw him work Grimes live, and dude, they went 50-50 back and forth, and I was like, okay, buddy, got a lot to learn, and they're gonna want to do that. So I don't know, will he get lost in the Hurt business, or is he just? I think that it'd be better to have him show up on Raw Underground as a singles guy and just beat the shit out of some people tonight.
Just kind of take that slow burn instead of throwing him into the deep end.
Yeah. Somebody says Keith Lee versus Big Ninja in there. Yeah, dude, what the fuck? Big Ninja just hanging outside the smoke shack and shit, catching a contact high. So we'll see, dude. I'm glad he's going to be able to do some of this. Not like he's going – when people are like, he's going to the main roster, well, what's that mean? He gets to still live in Florida and go shoot in front of the Zoom audience? Like, he's not going on the road. He's not going to, like, doesn't mean nearly what that used to when Beast and I were in OVW and he got called up to the main roster. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean shit now. That means you get to go work the Amway Center. That's the difference.
Oh, that was something that was interesting too. And I guess I can understand probably it didn't work out because probably rehearsals or whatnot, but it felt like with TakeOver 30, I felt like that should have been a marquee show with the 30th edition, and it's like such a contrast between that and SummerSlam. It felt like at least the aura of the TakeOver show did not even feel close to the level of SummerSlam. Now maybe that was done purposefully, but I also felt like had they done TakeOver 30 at the Amway Center, that would have been another thing that just would have, I felt, made that show just that much more over the top and make it really feel like a special 30th anniversary of NXT TakeOver versus another show that we have in the TV arena that we see every week. You know what I mean? Yeah,
definitely. I don't know. All that blue light and shit was just, it was almost too much, man. Like all the shit in the background, the fucking Guess Who flip downs and shit like that. And I'm just like, all right. After like two matches, it kind of was whatever. I would have rather had like graphics, to be honest with you, as opposed like maybe just one match where it's all fans or something along those lines where they can shut it down and you can just focus. It was too much for me.
Well, I think when it gets to the Thunderdome, for me, it was a different visual, but it didn't add anything. I mean, there wasn't an exact hook to it, and it lost its pull after a little while. I did like some of the entrances, especially in the main event. The Fiend's entrance was incredible in the Thunderdome.
Dude, there's no doubt about it. WWE production guys and graphics guys are fucking unbelievable. Like cutting edge. Like that dude who goes to Saudi and puts all that stuff together, man, like a weeks in advance, or the WrestleMania crew. It's unreal, the vision of the set design. We talk about the workers and the bullshit politics and shitty wrestling. The real magic in WWE is those set designers and the fucking digital people. They're pushing the boundaries of everything, and they have been from even when XFL 1 was, but the first time of the XFL, NFL stole a shit ton of shots. That fucking cable cam, you know what I mean? Where they could, that was all Vince and XFL guys. So those dudes, I mean, I've put them over before on Russo brand. They don't nearly get named enough. And that was what the Warrior Award was originally supposed to be about before they corrupted it into some stupid fucking shit for his wife to come off a creative team and fucking do every year so they can shine somebody else in a bullshit way. When the reality is those guys are fucking marrying technology, production, and artistry, and no wrestler can do what they can do. You know what I mean? You could teach them to wrestle a shitty match, be on NXT next week.
With how incredible the production always has been from WWE, it's always been one of their strong points. They're always over the top. Does it surprise you that there wasn't more success behind WWE studios, not just necessarily in producing their own movies, but partner with other touring concert groups or different venues of that sort, or just putting together these packages for other sports leagues? I mean, it seems like they've missed so much potential inside of that division of the company.
I can't disagree with you there at all.
No. Well, as we get rolling into this thing, gentlemen, just real quick, I want to touch on this one. I don't think there's too much here. This thing's been dragging out for a while. The saga, Bayley, Banks, and Asuka too. I mean, this eats up a good amount of this show. We got 2 matches involving these 3 ladies. You see Bayley defends as Banks sacrifices herself to help out her best friend. Later on in the show, the favor is not returned as Asuka is victorious over Banks and takes back the Raw Women's Championship.
I got it backwards when I rebooked it. I had it going the other way, over on Bayley, not over on Banks. I
was going to ask you how. I mean, obviously, this has been years in the making. It's kind of jumped the shark, but we're getting into that. The best friends split up. What's our next step here? What do we make of this cluster?
Yeah, dude.
I was going to say, Ben's sneaking it out here.
First of all, don't tell me what to do.
Okay, that's first thing. So,
Ding dong.
And then, after that, it's Sasha becoming a baby face that's lukewarm, where she says she's blueprinting, but how great of a baby face can you be when you don't have little girls cheering for you or people to slap your hand? You just got to tell people you're a baby face now based on what, right? There's no crowd to put you over. So, Bayley's going to stay heel, I think, because you're not going to do the Bayley Buddies, the blow-up thing. That'll look double retarded in front of a no crowd thing. She looks like she's coming straight off the short bus. Then are we going to work semi-heel versus heel? I don't know, dude. But neither of these girls are over. And this goes to your homework for Dr. Manbeast about changing heels to babies. Right here, this plays right into it. Is Sasha a mega heel?
Not really.
So how great of a baby face is she going to be?
Yeah.
Marginalized. Bayley a little bit more heel, but not really, goofy and stupid. She's not going to be that great of a baby face to switch them. So this plays right into that same homework. So what do you do to make a baby face? That needs to be circumstance. Bayley needs to be bullying somebody or mad about it. and Sasha needs to show empathy, show human side, some type of that equation, however you want to mix the variables in. What do we love in our baby faces? Someone who is anti-bullying, somebody who stands up and does the right thing, someone who has a hard choice to make, and we see that and they go for the harder path instead of the easier path, the more righteous path. That's what we need to set up in the writing in order to make her a stronger baby afterwards. And at the same time, heels need
heat.
So we have to find 3 or 4 ways to really show Bayley as a complete see you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we need to also, as we're looking towards the future booking, I couldn't believe I couldn't believe they're giving this to us. We've got another pay-per-view next week. Payback is next Sunday, and they already advertised that these two will be defending the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship at that show. And they kept mentioning that when they run that promo. You know, one of the driving points was being stabbed in the back. So, I mean, they're kind of giving away a lot. To me, it seems like they're giving away a lot of this booking going in. Maybe that's where we get.
Well, we've seen an eye for an eye. Now it's time for the stab in the back. The first woman who can stab the other woman in the back wins.
New Jack's going to ref. Stab in the back.
Moving on to a topic here with the ladies that, to me, is really of some great interest as we're talking WWE. Sonya Deville doesn't have to go home, but she can't stay in the WWE. She has lost to Mandy Rose. She will be leaving the company. Outside of the match itself, it is what you get between Deville and Rose. They probably work to the best of their ability here. But some great conversation over on Facebook and Hamin Media Discussion Group. I don't know. To me, this is what I've learned from you guys here in the Monday locker room. For Deville to request any time off right now, which seems to be the rumor, she wants to kind of deal with these personal issues. I think this is a huge mistake on her part. You've got a small window for success inside of professional wrestling. She's never been hotter than right now. She needs to hold on to everything that she can, ride this wave. She takes some time off. She comes back. She might have a minimal pop, but you're going to have other returns. You're going to have Charlotte back, Becky back. People are going to forget about her. She's going to fall to the wayside just to where she was before. What are your guys' thoughts on how they're handling this situation? I know it's very scary, everything that's happened. She's dealing with all these legal issues.
And I don't disregard that at all, because you're right. When the opportunity's there, the opportunity's here. But I can't speak on where Sonya Deville is in her headspace. But it's also sometimes even worse to be given that spotlight and to flounder. And if you aren't where you need to be mentally to put on the performances that you need to really take that run, that's also, and I'm not saying that's necessarily the be all end all, but I think that also carries some weight too, because then it's like, well, you had your big opportunity and you messed up, even though you can have all the excuse in the world. Well, someone tried to abduct and kidnap me, but I mean, I can imagine, and I only imagine because I've never had something like that happen, but I can only imagine what a mental toll that has to take on someone to be going through something like that and feel like potentially that their very own life was just in danger, you know what I mean, and having to deal with the aftermath after that. So I have to think, first of all, probably it's one of those things where I think it's hard to make the most logical, rational decisions when emotionally, understandably so, probably not in the best state of mind right now. So I'm not necessarily saying it's the right thing or the wrong thing, but ultimately, if it's something that in where she's at right now, it's something that she needed to deal with, then I'd say that's certainly her right to do so. Now, hopefully, she'll still get an opportunity down the line. And again, I'm not disregarding what you're saying, because she has had a lot of spotlight on her recently. But that being said, I can't speak to how she must be feeling and where her headspace is right now. Also,
yeah, man, this is a weird thing, because as we sit on the outside of it, you don't want to have to imagine these types of things or where your head needs to be. It's easy to sit here as wrestling pundits and be like, should they tie this into the storyline? And should we do this, that, and the other? Like, dude, a motherfucker breaks into your house to murder and rape you and fucking spray you down with pepper spray. Like, that's some shit you can't get in your head unless it really happens to you. And hopefully,
I'm not necessarily saying you tie it in. But you know,
I'm not putting. I'm saying it about me because I'm sitting here going, how do we get out of this stupid fucking haircut storyline doing extra fucking thing where it's like Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville attacked by pervert, like put the whole thing on TV, like to make it an OJ level fucking thing. Not that anybody got hurt, but like, how do we make it a fanfare type thing to really make her and draw? You know what I mean? When I'm saying, what did I just say to you about baby faces? What do they need?
Heat or not heat?
They need empathy. They need overcomings. They need a hero's journey. Here it is on a motherfucking silver platter. You know this dude's going down. You can't do things to stooge off the trial, but you can obviously cover it week to week, like they did with OJ in a 24/7 fucking news cycle. That's WWE's money. If they get Mandy they get Sonya to agree to it. Break this bullshit wall down and fucking do it. I agree that's where it is. If you take time off, you're going to have a tough shot coming back. Now I hit the brakes right there and go, stop. Now we're talking phony wrestling versus somebody possibly being murdered and raped and trying to marry the two for a fucking profit and fan base to ooh and ah at. And should we really be there in today's fucking voyeurism, nonstop information world? I guess we kind of are there. It probably is more intelligent as a human being for her to step away and be able to get some therapy and fucking be able to deal with this instead of going, you know what? I'm going to capitalize off this in a phony fucking wrestling angle so I can be on TV even more doing stupid shit, and like, forget about the guy who tried to rape and murder me. That's second. Like, you see what I'm saying? Where we go down.
And wrestlers have a bad habit, unfortunately, of just bearing the shit down and saying, fuck it, I'll do it anyway. And then that's when, and I'm not saying she would go down that path, but we've heard too many stories of people who started self-medicating and going down very dark paths. And that's where I have to put over, you know, taking care of one's mental health in a situation like this, I do think is of the most important. So I'm not disregarding what you're saying, because the only true way someone is buried is if they aren't mentioned or on TV. And so to a degree, taking yourself off of TV is taking her out of the spotlight and bearing the heat that she had. And not saying that in necessarily a booking or bad way, just if you're off TV, you're buried. But at the same time, I do think taking care of one's own mental health, so that way, hopefully she can come back and have the run that she was hoping to have right now. And hopefully they will give her that opportunity. Hopefully that will happen.
I think ultimately, and I understand, I'm not trying to dismiss the seriousness of the situation, and I understand where she is probably at in, you know, mentally and how shaken she is. I'm just talking about, you know, that small window and where she has been at. There's, you know, what is her appeal here? You know, right now she was shining because you've got, you know, superior talent on the shelf. They're going to return. I mean, you might even at some point throw a Ronda into the mix there. Even you start talking about marketability, you know, how marketable they are. Even if you start looking at, you know, just because, you know, she is, you know, a part of, you know, the Pride community and all that. To me, if I start even looking at who I'm going to market that way, I'm looking more towards Tegan Knox down the line. So you've got all these other talents moving into these different positions where you can market her. I just hate to see a talent like her lose out because of something like this.
You can't have just one lesbian, pal. You need two to actually make them a lesbian. That's the whole thing.
And I will say, someone that at least that I am familiar at least with NXT and seeing Tegan Knox, she has at least a solid year or so, and not from in the ring necessarily, but character development, that she's got a long way to go. And that's not taking away anything from the talent that she has, but being ready for the main roster, being really able to present herself as a star, at least being able to talk on a microphone and be comfortable. She has a while before she's going to be there.
Dude, nobody is a fucking star in WWE. Like, we keep referred, just because you're on WWE, you're not a star. Like, go to the fucking store right now. Sonya Deville is at the highest. Not trying to bust your balls, Rick. At the highest point in her career. Go to the fucking Kroger today and go, who knows who Sonya Deville is?
I actually have that in my notes that I wanted to bring up in this conversation in a bigger picture.
Tegan Knox, everybody. Anybody? Tegan? Somebody called you. Did you lose your daughter, Tegan? No, Tegan Knox. Keegan knocks
like
everybody.
I said, I have this in here. Is there a bigger, one of the things to me that Sonya isn't that big of a star, because it's even when you go back to the early reports on the mainstream press, when they were covering this story, it wasn't Sonya Deville that we would recognize that name like back in the day. You say Steve Austin or, whoever, Dwayne Johnson, who you're talking about. It just says WWE performer was involved in incident. I mean, that speaks to an issue inside the company that since they label everyone a superstar, we have no superstars. So and to me, that's also that doesn't give her any leeway to take that time off.
Superstar, the name, when you hear superstar, that means generic. That's the exact opposite of what superstar is supposed to mean. They took all the flavor out of the word. So it doesn't, that's just their corporate idiocracy. But dude, this whole thing of you're on TV, you're a star is not, like I say, people say I'm the best in the world. And I would look around and go, you're not even the best in the fucking room that you're saying that in, dude. So shut the fuck up. And like they fooled themselves into thinking that they're that. A Brody Lee could be a Steve Austin level 4.0 rating draw if you built him that way. But the way he is right now, go say, who knows Dark Order? You're like, what do you want, a number 4? No, like Burger King, like the Dark Order. Nobody knows. Nobody's a star. Nobody's watching this shit except podcasting hosts. Nobody. It's so bad. And she's beautiful, and she's not that great of a worker, not in ring. She's a shooter. I'm talking worker. She's out of the closet lesbian. Beautiful. That's all. Dude, you want to get over and not be like, give me my shot. She should have gone into business for herself with her own fucking, gotten her own agent, had him reach out to the whole gay mafia of the top, Bravo network and all the Queer Eye, like whoever produced all that shit, and start developing her whole team. Then come to Vince and go, I can bring you 1.2 million gay and lesbian, queer, transsexual, whatever, bisexual demographic by next month if you do what I want to do this way. You think he's going to say no? You think they're going to turn? They tried to walk that line with Finn Balor, and then he went and got kayfabe married after he was riding around with fucking Prince Albert like a twink and bear leather daddy on his fucking motorcycle, or he's posing in sailor outfits and things like this, bro. Like, come on, B. Like, what they wanted to do, and then they faved it, so they shelved all the LGBTQ stuff. That is a supreme and loyal market. And if I was a worker and I was her, like, dude, I would be tapping into that. Absolutely. I mean, the Lars Sullivan stuff's a little salacious, but same thing. If you got people who are going to come out of the closet or do gay porn and stuff on tape, why not run with that and bring them in? You need those people right now more than anything. And that's going to get people talking to even just turn their head for a second and go, what are they doing on WWE? What are they doing over there? Instead of dancing around it all the time, bro. A real worker in my mind would go, there's my money. Here's what makes me different from everybody else, and I'm going to tap into it. And that's where this weird line that, like I said, I didn't want to, I wanted to kind of not cross and show where it is, of well, that happened to me, but as a worker, I can see where I could take that and really make myself off of it. But at what cost in mental health? Maybe that's just a newer generation that doesn't think like that, but that's how anybody in this biz who's in the wrestling mafia thinks all the time.
When she returns, it could be back as a stalker.
There it is. Dude, Darren Young too. Another dude you could have put on USA Today or whatever it is. Good Morning America. Articulate, looks like Cena, minority, educated, out of the closet gay man. Right in the time of Queer Eye for the straight guy and all that. And shit would have been perfect. For the gay mafia to back them. Nope, we can't do any of that. We can't do any of get Billy and Chuck out here, 2 straight guys to suck on each other and make a good rib out of it. Yeah, and let's get Rico out here. He's not gay, but we'll have him flying around too.
Yeah, who's the guy that he has a show? I think his name's Andy something. Maybe I'm wrong. But I know that he has like the Real Housewives on there all the time. But anyway, but to your point, like I could see like you get in with them and you're a regular on that show, because I know it's popular, because I see it all, what's hot on YouTube, and it's like that's like a perfect opportunity for them to integrate themselves into that culture. And I don't understand why they're not willing to do that. And
dude, you want to talk marketing alone? The gay demographic, usually highly educated, master's degree or bachelor's degree, has least amount of children, which means expendable income, higher tax bracket, are homeowners as well. Also are probably 70 to 80% internet buyers, which means sales online of your whole rainbow. Dude, remember when they sold the whole rainbow thing? I was down in New York City, a year and a half ago? M&M store, a Hershey store, fucking whatever big, corporate entity. Every one of them was rainbow everything, dude. Missed the boat. They tried. That's when they were doing the Finn Balor. That's when the Ad Age Stephanie McMahon corporate, what's everybody else doing? Oh, they're taking the gay thing and promoting that as a way to make money. Then we'll do that. They got that close to it with the Finn Balor, entrance there, where they marched out all ages and races, and that was it. That was all they did.
The Finn Balor, the Balor Clubs for Everyone campaign that they ran. And as we're talking about Darren Young, the company's statement on that, when someone was approached, I think they were approached about it.
I got it right here. I got the statement. We're dumb as fuck and hate making money. That was the official line.
Yep. It was the man is gay. The character is straight. Is not gay. They said.
Gotcha.
But
how do you prove that? Like, here he is getting blown by a guy, but over here is the character Darren Young. We have him smashing some fine young girls on the side. Like, what the fuck does that even mean?
It was a prime time
$5 face slap worthy, bro.
The Villain Rose is a no DQ. What better way to follow that up with immediately with a street fight? Is the Monday Night Messiah over strong once again on the Mysterio family? A lot of fans seem surprised that Rollins would pick up the victory here. Beast, I want to ask you.
Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen was the name. I had to look it up. I was like, I know there is it's like get in with his talk show. But anyway, go ahead.
Beast inside of the Rollins Dominic Mysterio match. A lot of fans surprised that Dominic didn't pick up the win. There's some rumor that Seth might be taking leave with the baby on the way. Was this the right booking call? I mean, would it have made sense to have Dominic in pretty much his first match go over some with the resume of Seth Rollins?
Well, here's the thing: is you're still people. It doesn't take anything away from Dominic in a loss here. He lasted nearly 20 minutes with someone that is a former champion of the promotion, and not to mention now you have heat being a desire, a want, or a need for the audience to want to see Dominic get a victory in WWE. So if they are going to continue on, now don't get me wrong, he has a bit more seasoning certainly in training to get to. But that being said, I would say this would, if anything, would be an opportunity to show Dominic going back to the drawing board, taking him back down to NXT, showing he's putting in the training, putting in the work. So that way, when he does finally get a big win on a big show like SummerSlam or Rumble or WrestleMania or whatever, it's even that much more meaningful, because this is the big win that Dominic has been looking for versus giving him the win now. Now what? He can't continue on as a dominant babyface simply because it's nothing against him. He just hasn't had the time and the seasoning to get there yet. So I think if anything, a win would have actually done more harm to him right now, because now you have the expectation of, okay, he's got momentum, but what does he do from here? Instead, now you have the story of he lost to Seth Rollins, but he still defended his family's honor, and now he's going to continue to train and work hard, and we'll continue to see Dominic down the line as he continues on in his WWE career. So I think for playing the long, I think it was the right call.
I think that'd be a heck of a story. Let's say that he did go to NXT and began that journey, and then maybe like in 2 years, you have a payoff where he catches back up with Rollins.
Yeah, potentially. And you have the big payoff then in front of fans and everything. And hopefully at that point, he's much more seasoned as a worker and can get to that point. And then there you go. It's a lot more meaningful at that point.
Ben?
Pissed off because I switched my pick'em challenge to Dominic because I saw that Seth was leaving, and I said to myself, nah, they wouldn't send him out on top like that, or send him out going over. They'd try and do biz and pay it off if he's leaving. No, you're going out over. You're not doing biz on the way out. So, okay, all right. Beat the shit out of the kid. All right. I'm watching. Dude, I got killed on pick'ems because I didn't go with my original gut. I went back and changed 4 or 5. I lost on every one of them. I did good on UFC on the undercard wrestling. I just fucking was second guessing myself, and I was just like, what? Because I'm trying to like think how I would do it, and then I almost have to go, but how would they fuck it up? Okay, all right, and then maybe they would, but no, you know.
Would you send Dominic back down, or not back down, but have him relocate to NXT and begin that journey, or what is the future?
Yeah, we got him over. Now he's established. Do something where he's gonna go and heal and get training. Who's a good big brother for him in NXT? Who would you pick? Who's a baby face? Who could help get over and like kind of protect him, or maybe 2 guys and they start helping him train and they helping him get better. You know, that's
one thing is personality. So the first one that came to mind was actually Breezango, because they could maybe even pull some more personality out of him.
I think that's great.
Here's the thing. I wouldn't probably necessarily stick him in any feud right now. I would just show that he's training there and then build him up. But if they were to say, if they for some reason had it in their heads, they had to keep him on TV. Right now, Breezango has a thing going on NXT with Legado del Fantasma being the real luchadors of wrestling. And so I think right there's a potential tie-in. You have someone that's the son of one of, who's known to be one of the greatest luchadors of our time. And so there's the tie-in, and plus from a training standpoint, obviously pulling that personality out of him, hopefully would definitely benefit.
You're shining the luchas because Ray's going to be around in the mix and fucking giving them the cred that they already have, but even will get more of, and show camaraderie, show friendship. This is how we build baby faces. And then one of them turns, and because we showed that he was a big brother and a mentor to him, and he turns on Dominic to get over because he feels like he was just using him or some shit like that, goes after the old man again. That's something we can play out, but we need to build in front of the audience's eyes something that we love and that we react to.
As you're talking about that tie into the lucha, could you go get him like a personal coach that is that guide for a while, where you've got kind of like
it kind of makes him look like a pussy?
Well, I was thinking like a little Max scenario, and then you do reach into the true history of lucha and the art of wrestling in Mexico to try to build that connection.
I think you'd have a hell of a time explaining that to Vince McMahon in a creative meeting.
Well, and to your point, though, I think NXT would be a place you could do that, and that's where maybe if you want to turn it around and say Santos Escobar is trying to play up Dominic, you've got that lucha heritage, you need to be with us. You know what I mean? It tries to lure him into the mafia, so to speak. Because they're kind of playing up like they're the Mexican mafia down there. And
they'll want to like baby face them because they want Ray on their squad, so they're gonna have to like everybody gives like courting them to go to the prom a little bit. You know what I mean? Without trying to expose themselves. One group is phony. The other group has their heart in the right place, and he's kind of in the middle. I like that.
And that actually would allow him, because what you would do is say, someone like Escobar could manipulate Dominic into the group and make him like an errand boy, and that's where he doesn't have to necessarily be working. He just help them get heat on the side, distractions and whatnot, simple little spots where he can still be training at the time without actually wrestling full matches. And then after a while, say a year of him being the errand boy, he gets tired of being slapped around, and then that's an easy story of Escobar, who's a really good hand, and I think could probably put him through a good match as well. And that's when you have Dominic stand up and says, "Fuck this! This isn't what I signed up for," and then have him bump the guys around, and then that's an easy feud too. So you could do that as well.
Good stuff there, man. I love that kind of booking. But yeah, I'd take him off of the main roster and start his journey. You're right there, RBV. Now's the time to do it. You made him. He's established. Now go there and bang, you're already a couple legs up.
Gentlemen, what was for me personally, the match of the night? Drew McIntyre retains over Randy Orton. Ben, I know you talked about it earlier here. You love the finish.
Oh yeah, I mean, simple backslide, dude. And they didn't even do it out of pin drill, really. You know what I mean? It's a legit pin. If somebody wants to hook your arms and you're inverted and you're not going to get out of a backslide, and you can get it out of nowhere based off of wrestling 1, 2, 3 shock, and that gives you the opportunity at the end to tell more story, because that's usually a finish that does business post match, whether it's a heel getting heat or a run in or something else that needs to continue the feud because it leaves the guys strong. It's not an impact move. You beat him with wrestling, and it's legit. If I put you in one and I didn't want you to get out in 3 seconds, there's nothing you could do about it. So when people get out of a backslide, that's usually the phoniest part of it, to be honest with you. So this is everything that, dude, you heard it when Rip was on here. Who did he say was the most athletic guys he's ever trained?
Well, I said Randy Orton second, right behind Ben Hamin.
Yeah, right behind me. So I'll win with a backslide.
Brock Lesnar at a distant third.
Brock, yeah, well, I mean, whatever. Drew McIntyre right in there as well as OVW and understands it and gets it. So he's not going to be a guy who goes, fuck that, mate. You got to hit me with this, that, and the other. And like, no. We've seen this work in OVW. It's as simple as that. Everybody else, what did they see? They saw a ladder match with 98 spots the night before. They saw this, that, and the other. Guess what we're going to do? Here's the biggest thing that's like the asshole veteran thing that in the locker room. Then we have a match. Man Beast, what do you want to do tonight?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Nothing. Let's not just go out there and do nothing.
All right. That's usually how the conversation goes.
And that's what you got, a near flawless match, no big called spots with storyline and wrestling back and forth, competition, wrestling, beat them 1, 2, 3. What the fuck? Now we can continue the story going forward. Randy's not buried.
Beast, I want to ask you about it. You know, to me, I mean, this is what it should have been. I mean, this looked like two legit stars, wrestlers that we should be in awe of, and they got there and just, you know, they're measuring each other up. They're going back and forth. Randy's being Randy. He's taking every little advantage. He's the Viper. He's getting the strikes. Drew's playing the confident champion, the hero, just tremendously put together. Can you break down a little bit just throughout the, you know, before we get to the finish, overall thoughts on, you know, how they work throughout this match?
I mean, it like Ben said, it was just, I felt like a lot of it probably was. Now, that being said, I from what at least from the last time I was up there, I do know like they probably did have to pre-plan a decent amount of it, simply because that's just the nature of how they work up there. So that way they can have the camera shots ready and everything else. So to that extent, but I'm sure there were still parts of the match that were very much improv and in the moment. And you know, I thought it was a well-worked match. Honestly, I enjoyed it.
I just saw. It's not that they didn't call anything out in the back. Is when they say I want to do nothing, they did. Like I know that you're going to do the RKO, so we'll do the shove off here, come back in, do whoop wop. Like they're telling the story on the 3rd and 4th level, which is a lot of violence that the crowd knows are coming, and how do we set those up and then swerve away from them in a way. Right, like that's the whole end of the match.
And sometimes doing that is the best thing you can do. I've worked on shows. I remember one particular show, myself and a guy by the name of Rudy Switchblade. We were the main event, and everyone else on the show was doing all dives and all this other shit. And I actually, even though I was, you know, both of us well trained, I was still kind of like, "Fuck, what are we gonna do?" And he just looked at me and goes, "Why don't we just work a headlock until that, and then go from there?" And we did that. And I'll be honest, going into it, because I was probably about 6-7 years in, so I still consider myself fairly green at that time. I'll be honest, I'm still learning. But by the end of the match, just working and not calling anything through a headlock story, we had the crowd unglued by the end of it when we finally started to pick up the pace and doing the defensive pins and starting to get a rhythm, and you get into it, and you learn that sometimes the simplest stories, they're more easily digestible. And so sometimes they end up being like, oh shit, they draw you in a little bit more than thinking of the coolest necessarily spots to do, because you're telling a story based on emotion versus trying to get a pop based on a move.
Love it. I got nothing to add to that.
It's you know, it's just like you said earlier, Beast. It's you were waiting for you wanted a match to finish. In this case, you're waiting for that big moment, and you're continuing that build.
Yeah.
Ding dong.
Well, gentlemen, let's close it out. Let's talk about the Universal Championship. Braun Strowman was a man possessed. I think we even saw the kitchen sink in there. He's throwing everything he possibly can at the Fiend. He can't put him down. The Fiend goes over here, reclaims the championship. But for the big surprise of the night, I guess, is maybe the return that no one was clamoring for. Roman Reigns hits the ring, puts the Fiend down with a single spear. A whole lot to kind of dissect as we break down the match here. Ben, the overall thoughts in this main event?
People are saying Braun Strowman's beard is better than mine after he shaved his head and took my look. This is what's being said out there. I don't fucking think so. I don't think so at all. I'm not really impressed with it at all, to be honest with you. Gassed up as you want to be. I thought this whole story was going to be about Alexa, kind of, right? And then adding to the Fiend's squad with his fucking brother becoming a character.
That's what everybody wanted.
And instead, we bring back gassed up Reigns with a new T-shirt and catchphrase. And fuck Alexa, fuck Strowman. We're on to the new business.
Yeah, I was surprised because I felt like they had a storyline device that they had been using. And then when it came time to further the story, they decided to ignore the storyline device that they had been using. And that being the storyline device being Alexa Bliss.
You're lost in the chat here at twitch.tv/Hamin Media Group. Says his beard is competitive with mine. Well, are you going to canyouhandlebar.com and getting the Wisdom Beard Oil or Beard Bombs or have a horsehair comb, much like Brent Logan got from Australia? The best beard oils at Can You Handlebar. Give him a follow on Twitter. Tell him HackerHamin sent you. And then my beard is definitely better than Braun Strowman's, and make sure you tag Braun Strowman in that too.
When Braun was making his way, into the Thunderdome, I had actually thought to myself, like, holy shit.
It just sounds stupid to say.
He looks like a badass again. Like they found that fire. I mean, he looked good when he was making his way to the ring. Like I could believe in, all right, this is a badass champion. Through this match, I mean, he's got that fire in him. He wants to take it to the Fiend, tear apart this demon of sorts. I thought it was great that they used the ring as such a weapon, but then it's all for naught, right? It's all thrown away. You completely have pushed Braun to the wayside here. He's useless. After everything he throws out there, nothing puts down the Fiend to have Roman come in and just take care of business like that, correct?
Yeah, dude. I mean, this whole thing has been a build to redo Roman or to do Strowman from, marginalized or what have you. And you're saying it right here. He seems like a new powerhouse dude. And what should have happened then? We're building that guy. We should go off the air with him at the peak, right? Like we started rebuilding him. So instead we got him here to the match. And then what happens? Roman Reigns out of nowhere steals all that spotlight and he's fucking less than again. Well, we're probably going to have a triple threat with these guys, yeah?
Well, probably next week or some sorts. But I think, what everybody was wanting was more of a payoff, as you mentioned, but where the hell there was nothing with Bliss. And I think everybody wants to see what direction you're going to go there. Is she actually going
You even had Nikki on SmackDown with like this weird little, she's not the same Alexa I knew. And she's looking down and like trying to sell it. I'm like, okay, so they're going to do something here where Alexa's in the finish as a jump up and she's going to be all emoed out. You know what I mean? And then maybe when he goes over to do something to her, maybe that's when we would have had B-Team come out and be the new version, and they trap him and they do something to him that allows the weird clown collective to go over. Nope, Roman Reigns. Oh, okay.
So I even thought maybe there was going to be a bit of a swerve where this whole thing was masterminded by Bliss, where her and Braun were aligned together and we're going to become like, this new evil couple. But again, all for naught.
Either that or Bliss was the main one, but they also had, I believe, based because again I don't watch the TV series, but I saw on the I guess the hype video that I guess the Retribution group came out, and the other part I was thinking of, well, here's this group that obviously wants to shake up the WWE, but when it comes to SummerSlam and TakeOver, they're
good, bro.
They can't mess up that money. I guess, because I was thinking that it's like they're here to demolish and make a scene in WWE, but when they have their big events, then they're just going to lay back and chill.
Can I ask you one question? Why are they here to demolish WWE? Can we not get a TakeOver segment during TakeOver? Could we not get one list of demands of who's the leader and a ransom and a why? We have no why. We have Dark Order, indie-looking Walmart pants with a belt they just went and bought and a hoodie because somebody told them they're going to be in this segment that afternoon. Run in, do some phony punches, act like marks in the ring. Don't take a swing at Cole or Graves or do anything like that. Don't reference what you want to be here for. You take over the production truck in seg 1 of Raw and destroy things, but then the rest of Raw runs fine for the next 2 hours and 55 minutes. Nothing, bro. No sense whatsoever.
I guess another interesting note here. Roman with the brand new merch. Wreck everyone and leave. Very familiar with an old Stone Cold t-shirt. Arrive, raise hell, leave. Maybe they're trying to go in this Stone Cold direction with Roman Reigns. Who knows here? Beat.
That shirt is going to pick up the pussy. I'm here to tell you. Arrive, wreck everyone, and leave. Ooh, wow. He wrecks it. That's
funny. Immediately, right when I saw it, I started looking for a gift from South Park with the PC stands for pussy crushing. Immediately what I went looking for.
Dude, they just don't get it, man. The guy's turning 75 years old today. Let's talk about, we can even take it home on this. The story of what was it Moxley put out, dude? He's just like, I'm so glad to not be there, seeing what is going on, and especially with his wife getting released too. Just absolutely brutal when they could be doing incredible things. Not to say their own backyard doesn't have, or front yard has a lot to clean up in AEW, like I said earlier. But dude, the reality of things getting switched around and not doing business the right way, or setting things up for weeks on end and turning a hair versus hair into a loser leaves town match, to doing this big setup with them, since we even had Swamp Fight and Alexa was in that out of nowhere with no explanation. And here we don't do any of the payoff of the true story that is involved in the match. What's going on? Is it because Bruce truly is burnt out, ready to have a level 4 heart attack, and that Shane is now in there and they're making tweaks and adjustments and saying, fuck that Bruce shit, we're doing this from now on? I don't know. That's one of the things I could think of for the reason for doing that, because otherwise that's like reading one storybook and then right before you get to the end, you pick up another one and read the ending of that one. It has nothing to do with the one you've been reading.
It really did feel up and down this entire show that it was almost like a reset. Match to match, it just felt like they were completely changing creative direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, so if y'all don't mind indulging me, I actually have a 60-second little segment here I'd like to do, because my wife doesn't watch often, but when she does, I always am curious to hear her opinion, because even though I can't watch other shows, I do at least try to keep up with what's going on to an extent. She has no clue. And in a sense, she's been kind of burned out on wrestling, even though she's been in wrestling through OVW and was the ring announcer for several years. She's been out of the loop. So I literally I would like to do a segment. If y'all like it, I'll try to make her keep doing it. If you don't, then we'll just pretend this never happened. But this is just no context commentary. So literally just random things that she said throughout the show, from the start of it till the end. And so here were her interjections.
Ding dong.
I just feel like she's a mean nanny. Why'd you move yourself away from the ropes? Hey, it's Jasmine and Aladdin and a genie. They aren't social distancing. He was sitting on his lap. Tap out's back? Oh no, he tore his gear. He should have pulled out a rosary, but that would have been racist. And I had to explain that wasn't racist, but anyway. I've always liked that robe. Really? A backslide? Well, Randy can't believe it either, but I liked it. What will he do with a box cutter? I mean, probably cut him. I can't read my own damn handwriting. Oh, I thought the Fiend was I thought he was trying to send the Fiend back to hell. He didn't want to take that bump. Well, that was anticlimactic. Is Roman Reigns coming from a Zoom meeting? And then last but not least, I thought his shirt said wreck everyone or leave, in which case I would just leave. But the way they made it is a little bit better.
That was excellent.
There you go.
The Lady Beast.
No context commentary.
That's it, man. That was good stuff. Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm down. I'd like to hear some no context commentary on Payback, pal. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's the big payback here at Hamin Media Group, twitch.tv/Hamin Media Group. Also follow on YouTube, trying to get the numbers up as Conspiracy Horseman Twitch did get blocked for doing the watch along, hip hop along. People are literally going in the fucking chat. This is the best. I'm having so much fun. These make my whole day. Like, it makes wrestling better. Your channel is suspended. Oh, fucking great. Like, good stuff. Oh, man. But, all of our outside propagandists are here. Al Plaja, I saw earlier. Piers Austin from Wrestling with Tragedy podcast from Australia joining us as well on YouTube. So they've got plenty to talk about, whether I know they did the Marty Jannetty thing. They now have the Sonya Deville thing to look at. Also the Ted DiBiase Jr. getting way deep in that. I bet they're going to hang him out to dry. Dude, stealing from poor people's charity, about the lowest of the low right there, dude. And they're going to make an example out of him. So Wrestling with Tragedy podcast got plenty to talk about, guys. Follow them as a Russo brand member, doing great stuff. Angel from ECW and their whole crew over there, dude. So was there anything else you want to wrap up with, dude, as we bring her home?
Actually, I did. I wanted to poke the bear a little bit because I saw we have a new podcast, apparently, the Star Trek podcast from Triple D, and someone it looks like there was a little rabble rousing on Twitter between him and Greek God Papadon in regards to Star Trek, Star Wars, and someone said, I think it might be time for a debate, and my ears perked up a little bit. And I have the digital debates we started here, and I think we're long overdue for the next one. So I'm going to put out there in the universe, Triple D has accepted the challenge. Greek God Papadon, I think he did. I think he shrugged it off more so that he didn't think it was going to be worth his while. But I'm telling you, I'm trying to stir the pot here, Ben. So if you all want to see this debate happen, Star Trek versus Star Wars, then start letting Greek God Papadon know, and we'll arrange it to get them together.
This has been a long time coming. This has been a long time. The Star Trek Star Wars feud has been lit on Conspiracy Horseman for years with GGP on the Star Wars side, and Sal and
here's the thing too is traditional boxer debates, usually it is a team, so I'm not even opposed to if we don't want to do it one-on-1, we have 3-on-3.
That's
we have one introduction, a rebuttal, question and answer, and then a conclusion, and then we have the teams go against each other.
I'm thinking Sal, Triple D, and Stevie versus the New Forced Order podcast.
There you go. I like it.
I think that's what it really is. They're all.
Oh yeah, it's all.
So it'll be high level, bro. Like this is 2 years in the making, and I think you're the guy to moderate it. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. Let's make it happen.
And here we've got two hairy Greek men, battling over which TV show's better. Who doesn't want to say Opa and turn into that and rub some Zordos olive oil all over their body and just kick back and have a good time,
Absolutely.
Beam me up, Scotty. Yeah. But that'll be a great one, man. And I know Timmy Baltimore acts like he wants it, but he don't want it with Hove. When it comes to Sopranos versus The Wire, had a great watch along this week with Russo live on his Twitch. We're going to be doing that this coming Friday night, right after SmackDown again, part 2 of Wu-Tang Clan listen along. It was an awesome time, man. And there's some good tracks that we're going to get to on this second album that he's going to break out. And I'll keep schooling them. We had some real Wu-Tang heads in there that are Hamin Media heads right from Park Hill, Killa Hill, in Shaolin, who know that clan, who are watching along. So pretty awesome stuff, man. I love being able to do those things outside of wrestling with Vince and bringing more of that stuff to Hamin Media Group on our YouTube. That's really what that affiliate channel's for. If you like the wrestling, you like Cage Theory, you like the conspiracy, that's on the HackerHamin side at podbean.com or on your iTunes HackerHamin. Hamin Media Group are these spinoff Suck My Balls South Park podcast, the drinking podcast. I'm sure we're going to get a burger special here pretty soon, and everything else we got going on, guys. So subscribe to it all. There's no better place to be for free media, and it's thanks to sponsors like Tech Memes Ride Home Podcast that do that kind of shit, man. So y'all are RBV. What else, man?
Another busy week in here in Ohio. But you can keep up with me on social media at The Real RBV. But most importantly, this afternoon, I've got to get my notes in for the 5-star star search before MSG comes to Ohio and murders me. He's been waiting on those. We've got so many, how many submissions do we have already? A few dozen. I know some great content listening to, some great podcasts being entered. Just waiting to see who advances to those finals.
Yeah, man, there's a lot going on. That's true. I forgot to plug that 5-star star search, but a lot of great things coming in. So keep producing, you guys. If you haven't already, you got pretty much 2 weeks from yesterday to get a show together, get it out there. Don't miss out. We want to hear what you're a pro on, and also just make sure that people are being creative and creating content during this time instead of watching another dumbass Netflix show. I tried to get into hoops. I watched Drunk Parents. What a pile of shit. They're green lighting anything over there from any asshole who's a Joe Rogan third level spinoff friend of a comedian. So we're going to put something together because what we're doing is 10 times more high level than what's actually going on in wrestling or these subscription services. And when we build this library at Hamin Media Group, we watch when one thing hits. It's all going to come down on them like an avalanche, man, because we're an unstoppable force because of who you are out there listening. Every day we get new subs, new downloads, great feedback of the positivity and the realness that we talk in the face of some bullshit, because that's what the locker room's all about. We're not here to stroke some freaking sheet writers who've never been in the ring in their life, but they're acting like professionals. It's the true pros here at Hamin Media Group and Russo Brand Infidels. Anything else, boys?
Y'all.
Y'all, it's the Monday Locker Room Infidels. The old man's 75th birthday. Make sure you get over there and wish Bincy a happy one, pal. Yeah, we're going to take a blue chew, and we're going to be up all night. It's Raw Underpants in my Raw Underground. Yeah, here at Hamin Media.